So we bought a PC from Goodwill. How bad could it be? We found this thing being sold as is. The sticker on it said it only required a hard drive to work. We picked it up for about $75 and took it home. I was pleasantly surprised at what we had found. Inside this old full steel case was a fairly complex looking motherboard, a beefy tower style heatsink, and a really old name on a red theme graphics card. Oh, and it had a 1000-watt power supply. We've had it in our possession for a couple of years now. My brother gamed on it for a while. We threw in a better graphics card as an upgrade while he had it. Originally, this PC was sitting in an Antec 1200 full steel case. That thing was heavy, huge, and a massive pain to move around, not to mention the built-in fans were shot. I sold it off and bought a cheap Thermaltake case off Craigslist. Sitting underneath the CoolerMaster Hyper N520 is a CPU dating back to 2008. It's Intel's first generation Core i7, the i7-920. This processor had a launch price of $284 and was released back in November 2008. It uses the LGA 1366 socket, has 4 cores, 8 threads, utilizes triple channel DDR3, and operates at 2.66 GHz. The RAM was a 6GB set of OCZ Gold Series 2000 MHz DIMMs. The motherboard is a Gigabyte GA-X58A-UD5. This thing looks absolutely gorgeous, and yes, this board supports the 6-core Xeons that Brian from Tech City likes so very much. The graphics card is an ATI Radeon HD5870 1GB. This card launched back in September of 2009 at $379. It was meant to compete with Nvidia's GTX 480 Fermi cards. It requires 2 6-pin PCIe power. It supports DX11, OpenGL 4.5, and OpenCL 1.2. To power everything in the system, the PC came with a Corsair HX 1000-watt modular power supply. It features 2 12-volt rails with 40 amps each. Unfortunately, none of the modular cables came with it, so all in all, this PC dates back in late 2009 to early 2010. This PC, as spec'd, was a high-end gaming PC back then. It probably would have cost the original owner over $1,000. So what is it like gaming on it today? I picked what I thought to be a diverse game selection for this PC. I wanted to test out games that met the minimum system requirements first, so easy to run games, and I also chose games that are a bit more demanding. I also tested some synthetic benchmarks from Unigine and 3D Mark, and Cinebench for our CPU comparisons. I overclocked both CPU and GPU this time around. I figured I might as well give it the best shot possible. I was able to achieve a CPU overclock of 3.8 GHz at 1.35 volts. I was able to do 4 GHz with this, but it required CPU V-core to be set at 1.4, and I wasn't comfortable with that. Arc.Intel listed max voltage on the CPU at 1.375, so that's what I'm going to go with. As for the GPU, all I did was set the core clock slider on MSI Afterburner to the max, and off it went. I added a boot SSD and another 6 GB of RAM to make the user experience smoother. Again, I am using MSI Afterburner to record the clips shown, but the benchmark results were taken with only fraps logging the frame times. So with all that said, here are the benchmark results. For a PC that is almost 10 years old, the performance is pretty surprising. For titles where the 1GB VRAM isn't the limiting factor, the HD5870 can still offer some very playable frame rates. On the other hand, for the games where optimization is questionable, this PC definitely struggles. Is it time to upgrade from this platform? I'm not convinced. The i7-920 performed well under my daily use. That includes gaming, streaming videos, and editing this video. So for $75, I think I did pretty well. So that was it. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know how I did in the comments, and see you next time.